who is on the line gets accredited before they start visiting. As I speak with you, they started counting votes in some places like Songo, while voting is still ongoing in almost all the places we visited.
Is there any word that there's any suggestion whatsoever that they may have to continue voting tomorrow?
None so far. The areas where there were problems, like I told you earlier, INEC said that the accreditation should be extended until everybody who is registered and who is on the queue has been accredited and they start voting. So apparently voting cannot end at 5 o'clock at centers like that. So people are still voting as I speak with you, while counting has commenced in some other places. But I have not heard that there's going to be any sort of voting tomorrow.
All right, thank you, Bukola.
Thank you, Chamberlain.
Okay, that's our correspondent Bukola from Oyo State. The issue of this card reader matter apparently it's all over. But INEC has just a few hours ago briefed the press saying that they could go ahead and do manual accreditation. Is that not falling back to the old plan that was used in 2011? Is that not going backwards, having taken 2 steps forward and not taking like 3 steps back? Is that the situation? Prof.
Well, I don't think that's the situation, because INEC from the word go had this as plan B, that in case of any failure arising from card reader malfunction, then they will go back to the manual accreditation and enable people to vote. The whole essence of it is that we are in a transitory period. Nobody will deny the paradigm shift that the card reader represents. As you have heard from the INEC chairman, a lot of the electoral malpractices that have been identified are nipped on the board through the card reader. So the success of the card reader might not have, been that as anticipated, but that does not, change the paradigm, that we need to move from this manual to the electronic.
But how we move?
So it's a learning process. It's a learning process. Rome was not built in a day. So basically, the level of success might not have been 100%. But as you heard from the last report in Oyo State, where they have had problems, they have addressed them. And as we address this problem, we are able to deepen our democracy. We are able to have a free and fair election based on an objective electronic system that will give us what really you put in. That is, if you are voting, then that is what you get. If we go back to the manual, we're going back to the dark ages.
Isn't that what part of the announcement, that in some cases where they can't use the card readers, they resort to manual voting?
Yes. In those cases, the first choice is for the card reader. It's where the card reader fails that we go back to the manual. And don't forget, even that, because we are going by the PVC, which also, so it's one part of the electronic system that has failed. The PVC has not failed, but it's the card reader that will read the card and do the electronic, accreditation that has failed. Because the card reader, in essence, accredits you for purposes of you being able
But isn't it the card reader that will authenticate your card to validate it first and foremost that, yes, you are the original holder of that card? So if the card reader doesn't function at all, the process is flat on its face, isn't it?
The card reader authenticates, but the process of generating the PVC is an electronic process. The card reader is just the validation at that point. And that's why you find out that for you to come with your PVC, the PVC must have been generated by INEC. The question is to eliminate
not necessarily, because the card reader was supposed to help to knock out
those
the
that are
fake PVCs.
But I believe that nobody anticipated that the card reader will fail to this extent.
Oh, but some people probably did, because when they did the test in the 12 states, we got a report from one of the states of a fake card that was discovered in the course of the test. I mean, that stated that some people were actually anticipating that the card readers will fail at a certain point. So in a situation like this now, where INEC has said, okay, the card readers are not working your location, go manual. What happens to
Okay, my question is there no master sheet, like a master list of
There
all
is.
registered?
There is a master
Okay,
list.
so if they have to go manual, all they are doing is compare the information on the card, on the PVC,
yeah.
with the information that
On the
was
manual.
generated electronically before coming to the polling station.
Yeah, but the thing
for
about
me,
that part.
so I think the goal
Yeah.
remains the same. The goal is to make sure that everyone who has been accredited gets to vote. The goal is to make sure that the election is free and fair. So that's just a process. Unfortunately, it's a process that has gotten problematic at this point. But if I come with my card, my PVC, and you have the master list there, and you compare the information is the same, is that not how it works?
Yeah, but not as straightforward as that, because
Okay.
we've always had a list.
All
In
right.
2011, we had a list.
Okay.
9, we had a list. Yeah, even 7, there was a list. But introduction of the card reader didn't take away the list. So where they come with the PVCs, remember, there were those who, I think they had 1.1 million stolen PVCs.
Yeah.
Because some people thought they were going to be able to manipulate the process.
Yeah.
But some were magnanimous. They returned some of the stolen ones and said, well, let's keep this one just in case. Now it turns out that card reader fails in some parts. And then one wonders, if they didn't use a card reader in those areas and they resort to manual voting, the essence of introducing the card reader, which was to prevent rigging or ballot stuffing, doesn't it pop up? Has it been solved?
Okay, so the problem remains. But like Prof said, you know, we're transitioning. So for me, I think we've come a long way in terms of we're actually having an election. Up till this morning, a lot of people didn't think there would be an election. So we're actually having an election. So if they have to resort to the manual, there's still that problem of fraud and rigging and all kinds of electoral malpractices. But we can, well, at least the system, the process, can get past that and still achieve the goal, which is let's have an election today. Let those who were accredited, those with PVCs, let them vote. And then sort out the problems later, hopefully in the next election.
That issue of those who are accredited and those voting, I mean, some polling units have had their INEC officials come in, the card reader not working, and they left, and they've not showed up till about 3 p.m. Now. They've not showed up. And this other polling unit, 001, 013 and 014, Okwado, Sangotedo in Ethiopia, somewhere in Lagos, say the INEC officials came and announced the election there has been cancelled, and they went away with the polling booth. Now that's somewhere in Lagos. So is it a question of INEC not being properly coordinated? But before you answer that, let's just find out from Harriet Agbe, who's online, what the situation is from her end. Hello, Harriet. Harriet, are you there?
Yes, Niels, I can hear you.
Okay, so what's the situation where you are?
Well, right now I'm at polling unit 12. It's located in Anthony, and it's under Koshope local government area. Now, they started accreditation kind of late because the number of accredited voters was more than the number they had bargained for. Apparently, they had about over 1,900 registered voters, and so they had to split them up. So 750 were accredited, and when they finished that part, they started accrediting the next set of voters. So right now, voting is actually ongoing, but it's really very slow because the accredited voters are agitated, they're tired, it's rained, the sun has come out and dried them up, but they're really, really keen on going through with the process.
Okay, they didn't have any issues of card failure, or was it manual authentication they did?
Well, they also actually had issues with accrediting some of the voters. If you notice, for most of the day, actually, that's what's been the issue, getting the card readers to, apart from reading the card, also authenticating their fingerprints as well. So once they got past that, they managed, to do the accreditation. But for those who were not able to get their, fingerprints read, they had to do the manual authentication.
Okay, so now that they are tired and jaded, what happens? I mean, I also did ask Bukola this. Any suggestions whatsoever that they'll come back and complete that tomorrow?
No, that is not an option for them at this moment. They are ready to stay here until the last voter casts their vote. Even the INEC officials have not given any, suggestions or have not said anything whatsoever to that regard. if they're going to cancel or, come and do, all over again tomorrow. They're ready to stay here and ensure